So my brother is 13 years younger than me. So growing up, it was easier to fall into like a caretaker child role than a traditional like brother-sister. And so the number of times that I have caught his vomit in my hands is really about what you would imagine for that relationship. Most memorably in a hotel pool once that I then had to go and explain to the receptionist that I had caught like most of it, but not all of it. In the Cancun airport, after he drank a milkshake and then just like looped it right back up all over the cup and tray. I don't have kids of my own, but I do have a dog. A couple of years ago, we adopted our first dog, Xena. And every so often, I do encounter situations where I think, is this really what I signed up for? And one just happened a couple months ago. And we were outside in the yard on a Thursday evening, and Xena was squatting to pee and then just like staying there for like 30 seconds. And we're watching her do this, and we're like, that's not normal. That's not what she normally looks like when she pees. And we're kind of thinking like, what's going on with her? And so we whipped out our phones to Google. And I don't always Google for medical questions, but when I do, I like to really go deep. So within 5.5 minutes, I knew that if it was a complete urinary blockage, she would be dead in 3 to 5 days. And so we're like, me and my boyfriend are kind of like talking to each other, like, do we call the vet? Like, it's after hours on Thursday. Do we call the emergency vet? Do we keep like Googling and like thinking we'll find like, it's not that, it's this, and we can all calm down? I'm trying to take a break from like the WebMD of veterinarians, and I'm scrolling through Reddit, and there are like photos of senior dogs, and I'm like, what if my dog never makes it to be a senior dog? So we decide to sleep on it and see what she's like in the morning, and the next morning I call the vet. And I'm trying to explain to the receptionist, like, she just crouches, man, and then she just stays there. And she's like, ma'am, I am a receptionist, and you can either have an appointment or not. So we decide to take the last appointment on a Friday evening, 7:30. This is like 8 o'clock in the morning. I still have to go to work. And so I go to work, but I'm like, working and also texting everyone I know and talking to all my coworkers to be like, she just pees for 30 seconds, man. And they're like, yeah, that's a UTI. Like, dogs get UTIs. And I'm like, oh. So I had enough calm to work through the rest of the day. And we get home, I get home from work, it's 4:30. We still have 3 hours before we're going to the vet. And we decide to take our dog on a walk. And I'm thinking, like, maybe I'll see something in her that gives me some other kind of clue. So we're taking her on a walk, and she stops to take a poo. And I get this, like, light bulb in my head of, like, when she poops, I'm sure it will give us a clue as to what's going on. So she does her business, and I'm, like, really, really watching her. And she steps away, and I go in with, like, the bag inside out on my hand and pick it up, and I'm looking at it. And like in and out, like what's in here? And there is something in her poop that's not supposed to be there. And so I'm like smearing it with my hand, like I'm really in there. And I'm like holding it up to my boyfriend, like, what do you think it could be? It looks like a red onion skin. And I'm like, well, shit, like dogs aren't supposed to eat onions, like that could be like causing an issue. And I'm smearing it, and I'm looking closer, and it's not a red onion skin because it's a little bit waxy. And I hold it up, and my boyfriend says, that's the wrapper from a Lebanon bologna. And he tells me that he had unwrapped a Lebanon bologna snack earlier that week, and he had put it in the trash, but I guess all of it didn't get in the trash. And so Xena had sniffed it out, pulled it out, what was hanging out of the trash, and eaten it. And then digested it and pooped it out. So we go to the vet, and in my head, I'm like, do I tell my vet that my dog has eaten a Lebanon bologna wrapper and like maybe that could be impacting her? And the vet's like, has she eaten her normal food? Yes. Like, how's her energy? He's like palpating her bladder. She's really fine. She doesn't seem in pain. And so I say like no, we're just gonna like keep that secret between me and Zena and my boyfriend. And they put her on antibiotics. She's on it for 2 weeks. She's fine after like a day. Dogs really do just get UTIs. And so the mystery of like, did the Lebanon bologna play a part in this role? Like, one, we'll never know. But if I need to add to my resume the bodily fluids I have interacted with, I have one more to add.